Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And I have a very, very special guest on today. A guy from Toronto, Canada, Nicky Billou. So stay with us. We'll be right back. And here we are. I want to welcome my buddy Nicky to the show. Nicky, welcome.
Ken, man, it's an honor to be here. Wow, that is an awesome intro video. I was thinking, dang, I gotta get me one of those.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a guy. Everybody's got a guy. I have a guy out in Vegas that is incredible. He created that. He's talented. So thank you for that. Nicky, I created this show about 2.5 years ago. Honestly, it was probably a little bit selfish, but you know, I created the show to help people have a breakthrough in life. At the time, I was feeling a bit stuck in some areas, and dude, after interviewing 250 plus people, I feel like I've gotten unstuck. But you know, that's what this is about, because I don't think that you can go through life and not experience problems, challenges, right? So that's what it's about. It's about your story. It's about the challenges you faced and how you got through them and busted through. And I know I met you through our buddy Mark Victor Hansen.
Great man.
And Crystal, couple of just amazing human beings.
Phenomenal couple, yeah, really
they
good
are. And you did a summit. I don't remember the exact name of the summit.
Yeah, the summit was called Your Finest Hour.
That's it. Your Finest Hour.
Let me see if I can
and you guys had what's that?
I'm going to see if I can grab the printed workbook, but keep talking while you're doing that.
So you guys had some. I mean, you and Mark Victor Hansen and Crystal Hansen and Candace Owens, and you had some amazing people on the show, or the speak at the summit, the virtual summit. And, you know, I just tell that there it is. There it is. It was amazing. So I could just tell that you're a guy that makes things happen. And so I've been looking forward to having you on the show. But let's start with telling everybody where you were born and raised.
I was born in Iran, in Tehran, Iran. I'm actually an ethnic Christian, a Syrian Christian. And, you know, I am so grateful for where I was born. It's a phenomenal country and the people are incredible. But there was a revolution there back in 1979, 80. And when that revolution kind of was complete, the form of government changed. The government there had been a monarchy, a pro-Western monarchy, and it turned into a radical kind of Islamic republic. And if you were not a Muslim, and as Christians, we're not Muslims, life became tougher. I mean, it wasn't like ISIS or anything like that, but it just became tougher. And so my parents decided that they wanted us to live in a different environment. So they brought us to the West. We ended up settling in Canada. And I'm so grateful every single day for what my mom and dad did to bring us here. My late father in particular had a vision for us to live here. He was an entrepreneur. And his proudest boast was that he got to feed 51 families, ours and 50 of his employees. Wow. And his entire life, this man was a stand for free enterprise, for entrepreneurship. And I am so grateful to get to live in the free West, which is one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about this form of government and about making sure that freedom of speech and all the beautiful things in the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, are preserved. It's extremely important to me that happens, because let's face it, if we lose that in America, there's nowhere else for the rest of us to go. So I'm a champion for free enterprise. I'm a champion for freedom. And I'm very, very grateful to be here with you and talking about these issues, man.
Yeah. So, I have a friend who's a dentist here in Central Ohio from Iran, and he's a Christian as well. And he's actually in the ministry, and he was telling me, I forget it's been years since I've seen him actually, but he was telling me that he does it, but he can't really go back to Iran to see, like, his parents are buried there, and he's like, man, if they catch me, it's game over, is basically what he said. So I can't imagine that. Like, I don't think most people.
That's not my situation. Like, we're not. There's no danger to me if I go back to Iran per se. It's not like that. The government there is not as radical as these other organizations in these other countries, but it's still pretty radical.
Yeah.
And it's not a free country. Let's face it, it's not a free country. If you speak out against the government, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
If you take action against the government, you're in real trouble. And that's why I love living in the West. You get to say whatever you want about your rulers, and you're not going to get thrown in jail. I mean, look, in the United States, so many people are demonstrating against President Trump, and they're not. Their lives aren't at risk. Their businesses aren't at risk. Their families aren't at risk.
Right.
It's a wonderful thing. And in Canada, I mean, so many of us protest against the Prime Minister, Trudeau, and same, our lives aren't at risk, our businesses aren't at risk. And it's important that we keep that alive, in my opinion. Like, we need to educate the next generation so they understand what freedom is, why civics are important, why freedom of speech is important. And the current fad about, oh, no, you're offending me and whatnot, that's just really a thin veneer of politeness over Marxism and fascism, in my opinion. The great George Carlin, one of the greatest comedians of all time, said political correctness is fascism with manners. But that veneer of manners is wearing thin. So it's very important that we stand up for freedom, and we make sure that those who want to take it away from us don't get to.
I think that everybody, not everybody, but man, there's a lot of people looking for reasons to be offended today. They really are. It's crazy.
Look, there's plenty of things that offend me, but I mean, does that mean people don't get to say them? No, they get to say them. I mean,
right.
That's my problem, that I'm offended, right? And there's plenty of things that offend me. And if I wrap myself in virtue, then, I deny other people their humanity, and they have their humanity and I have mine. They have their flaws and I have mine. They have their greatness and I have mine. And that's important for all of us to remember. That's what freedom's all about. Understanding and respecting greatness. And look, there's so many people that goes, oh, there's so much bad about our Western society. Yeah, but compared to everywhere else, it's so phenomenal.
Right.
So phenomenal. Sure, you can look at the history of the West and say, oh, there was, racism here. There was exploitation. There's no denying that happened. But you know what? The greatness of the West is the West can look at that and self-correct. And that's what the West has done and is continuing to do. And that must be acknowledged. These people who are telling us that is not to be acknowledged, they are part of the problem. You got to acknowledge the greatness of the West and the fact that it does self-correct, and people here give you an opportunity to get better and be better. Look, I'm an Iranian from the Middle East. I'm a light brown guy. I'm not a white guy, right? And I have a business. I have a podcast. I've been accepted into my community, my society. Trust me that this would not happen outside of the West.
So okay, how old were you when you moved here, or were you?
I was 13 years old when we left the Middle East, and I was just shy of 15 when we got to Canada. So we were in Greece for 2 years in Europe.
Wow. Okay, so somebody's already saying thank you, and I can feel your passion about this. I love it. So you remember being there then?
Of course, absolutely, 100%.
You have
it was an idyllic childhood. I had a wonderful childhood.
was there any was there any insanity that happened over there, or was it like
There was a revolution? There was a ton of insanity. There were demonstrations in the streets every day. There was pitched battles being fought between demonstrators and government forces. People would be killed on both sides. When the revolution was successful, they started rounding up people from the old regime and shooting them, hanging them from cranes. Wow. You know, there was a war with Iraq. I left before the war with Iraq, but absolutely. Revolutions, man, are intense things. You know, the only good revolution in history was probably the American Revolution. All the rest of them led to more tyranny.
Oh my gosh. So you got to Canada, and because I can hear a Canadian accent, just a slight one. My wife's from Erie, PA, and I always joke with her and say, "You're kind of Canadian, really." Because
did she say A?
Yeah. No, she doesn't say A, but she's got some other little nuances. But so you got to Canada. So in the middle of a revolution, and I have other friends that are from Iran that you know talk about bombs dropping around them all the time, and like you know,
I had a Molotov cocktail thrown through my family's window. It didn't explode. It had a note that said "Die Christian scum." So it was
oh my God.
That kind of thing happened. Hey,
wow,
it's life. Just don't let it happen here. You guys got to be careful, man. Just don't let it happen here.
Yeah. Wow. So you got to Canada. You said 15 when you got there, or just shy of 15?
Just shy of 15, yeah.
So you ended up going to high school, I guess they call it there. Did you end up in college?
Yeah, I went to University of Toronto, and then I went to the States for my master's. I went to Georgetown U in Washington, D.C.
Wow.
Phenomenal school. I got to study with Dr. Madeleine Albright, who ended up becoming Secretary of State, although I didn't agree with her politics. She was a left-winger. But I also studied with Dr. Chet Crocker, who worked as Undersecretary of State for Southwest Africa under President Reagan. Ambassador David Newsom was one of my teachers. He was acting Secretary of State under President Carter. I had Dr. Neil C. Livingston. God, I wish I could get a hold of him. One of the world's foremost experts on terrorism. He taught a course on terrorism, and I took that course. It was a phenomenal course. He ran for governor in Montana. He didn't make it, but he's quite the character. It was an incredible time to be in Washington, D.C. and to learn and to get to visit all the beautiful monuments. I was at the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, Washington Memorial, the Vietnam War Veterans Memorial is, to me, the most haunting and beautiful memorial in the world. The Iwo Jima Monument just across the river in Alexandria. Yeah, it's just stunning, man. Stunning stuff.
Wow.
It just brought it all to me. Wow. I mean, it's the land of the free and the home of the brave. Its monuments just evoke certain power, certain emotions. Just incredible stuff.
What was your major in college? What did you?
I studied economics and business and political science as an undergraduate. So I had a Bachelor of Commerce, they called it, but with majors in economics and poli-sci as well. And then at Georgetown, I was at the School of Foreign Service, and I studied something they called international business diplomacy. So I studied politics, I studied international business, I studied trade, diplomacy, all that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I got to graduate near the top of my class. I had a magna cum laude, 3.85 GPA. So
wow. So you're smart too.
I'm smart as all get out, brother.
I already knew that. So when you finished with college, at some point you had to earn an income, I would imagine, right? So what did you do after college?
When I came back, there was a recession, so I wasn't able to land the dream job. A lot of my colleagues got to. It took me about almost a year and a half to land a dream type job, and that was in the world of telecommunications. There was a company in Canada called Unitel. They were the first competitor to the long distance monopoly, and I worked there for just over God, 4 years, 4.5 years. And then after that, I moved on to what was my favorite job, working for someone else, working for a cell phone company called ClearNet PCS. And now I was just there for a year, but man, it was like being in Silicon Valley. It was incredible. It was quite the ride. I got to make some phenomenal friendships. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. And then after that, my father had a trading company, and he asked me, "Hey, come to the Middle East and come be a part of this." So I did, and it was a culture shock for me to go back to the Middle East. So the problem for me was that, I was now a Westerner, right? I'd been here for 16 years. It wasn't quite the same. Plus, the price of oil tanked. So the business disappeared. So I came back. I was just there for a few months, and I came back, and I went back into telecom pretty much right away. I was with another company for about a year and a bit, and then I had an opportunity to go into a .com type company in IT security. In 2000, I went with those guys, and that was a fantastic ride. I got promoted. I got into sales, and that company went belly up. It's called Jaws Securities, Jaws Technologies, and it went up just days before 9/11, and it was quite the time. I was lost, once again.
And you were living in the Middle East?
No, I came back after 2 months, man. I didn't stay in the Middle East. I came back to Canada. So all this was in Canada.
I got you. And what was your position in these companies? Were you?
I was in sales, and I'd become a director of sales and that sort of thing.
I was gonna say, man, there's no way you're not in sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So after that, I was fortunate. I did well. And then after that company went bankrupt, I went back to one of the companies I'd been with, and I just worked with them for 6 months, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. And it was in a sales type role again. And after 6 months of that, we mutually left. And then I met the woman that I married through Landmark. It was quite incredible. It was a heck of a story. And then shortly after that, I just floundered my way into business for myself. I started to become a personal trainer because I was very much into fitness. I did some consulting. The training stuff worked. I became one of the top trainers in Canada. I worked with a couple of Olympic gold medalists, Mark McCoy and Donovan Bailey. And Mark McCoy actually wrote the foreword to this book, Finish Line Thinking, How to Think and Win Like a Champion. And this is the foreword that he wrote for me, which is lovely. He's an Olympic gold medalist, and he said some lovely things about me. Was married. I was in the fitness world, and then my marriage broke up, and that was a rough time because I was at the time blindsided. I didn't know it was coming, and in retrospect, I was one of many clueless men. There's so many of us men that are clueless these days, and it's not really our fault. Because the world is not teaching men how to be men anymore. It's kind of almost a crime to walk around and be a man.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is that I just didn't know, and I messed up with her. I had a son who was really sick, and she was freaked out, and I didn't know how to deal with her being freaked out. Just didn't know how to deal with it. And so I got freaked out, but I covered it up by being tough. And it just, unfortunately, this happens with a sick child. Our son he almost died twice.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough. It was once at 2 months, once at 18 months. It was awful.
Wow.
He made it, but our marriage didn't. And when my marriage broke up, I went into a really dark place. And what brought me out of it was some great mentors, men in particular. There was a man named Owen Williams who I worked with, and Owen coaches men. And I was part of a men's group with him, and then I joined another men's group. And just being around men taught me how to be a man again. Taught me how to be a man. Taught me all the stuff that I messed up with.
Yeah.
And so, eventually I let go of my anger toward her, and I forgave her, and she forgave me. We have a very good relationship right now. And I've got a new woman in my life, and my current lady and my ex and my kids, we went on vacation together a couple years ago. It was pretty cool. And we'll do it again at some point. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. I'm very
where do
helping men who are going through this. So, if people are listening to your show, and this isn't something I officially say I do, but I do it. I've got this program. I call it Make Your Life Great Again. And if your lady has left you and you're a father with kids under 18 in the last 6 to 12 months, and you're a business owner and you are not dealing with it well, you need to talk to me. You really do, because I will make your life great again, because you deserve to have that happen. And your kids do. And frankly, even your lady does. Maybe you'll get back together. Maybe you won't. But no man should be, suffering because he just doesn't know. He's lost. He doesn't know how to get through it. And the pain that men go through is awful. And they got to learn how to get through it powerfully. And they got to learn how to win their divorce, not get killed. And by win their divorce, I don't mean destroy their ex, not at all. But I mean, also don't get walked all over and lose everything you've worked hard for, because too many men they go into that space, and that's exactly what happens. And we don't want that to happen. You need to have the wherewithal, emotionally as well as financially, to be able to take care of yourself and your family going forward.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. So, where Joe says that's impressive and bizarre.
There's nothing bizarre about it, man. There's nothing bizarre about it. There's still love there. We have children together. It's for the kids, but it's also because I don't hate her. I love her, and I want to see her be happy. And, if we could all be together, it's a good example for the children. I'm not angry with her. We had fun. I mean, I was with my lady. She was, she has a guy now too. She didn't come with him, but she got to hang out with the kids. We got to do fun things. What's bizarre about it?
Where do you go?
The thing is that people continue to live in hatred. That's what I think is bizarre.
Yeah. Where do people from Toronto go on vacation? Miami?
Somewhere warm.
Right.
Wintertime, somewhere warm. In the summertime, we stay in Canada. It's pretty great.
Yeah. So, is this recommended program a landmark?
No, it's my own. This is you're talking about what I do for men. Absolutely not. It's my own. Landmark's great. I recommend everybody do the Landmark forum at least once in their life. But what I'm talking about is if somebody's a father and their wife has kicked them to the curb in the last 6 to 12 months, and they're a business owner, I'm talking about Make Your Life Great Again. I borrowed that from President Trump, Make America Great Again. But I think it's great. Make Your Life Great Again. That is a Nicky Billou special program. You have to apply. I have to speak to you. I have to vet you and believe that you're a good person and you're serious. And then maybe I'll let you pay me a whack of money and work with me. But it's not a program that's advertised out there. I don't think I will be advertising it at any point in time. But I'm a champion for men. And if a man, how I've ever helped a man is a man like you, Ken, has called me privately and said, look, my buddy is in trouble. Could you talk to him? That's how it always goes.
Got it. So it's a referred type
Has
thing.
to be, man. Has to be. I don't want some dude that I don't know. Who the hell knows if he's for real?
Right. Yeah. So you I want to go back to
and it's not my main business. I want to be clear. It's just something I do. But I charge because I should get paid. Everyone should get paid. It's an exchange of energy. But I also charge so they take it seriously, and that's the most important piece. If they pay nothing, they'll value it at nothing.
Amen. I had this conversation yesterday. So with you were in sales with these companies, and you ended up in your own business. What was the business you started?
Well, I got into the fitness field. As I said, I worked with these Olympic gold medalists. We had a program we were going to sell, but there was infighting between partners. That's been a theme that's happened a couple more times in my life since then. Yeah. And then when I went through my divorce, no, it wasn't a gym.
Okay, I got it.
Program. I did fitness coaching and whatnot.
Got it.
But once I got divorced, I wanted out of that because I wanted to do something that would take up more of my abilities, more of my skills. I felt like it wasn't enough just training people, man. I had a lot more to give than just say do 5 more, 4 more, 3 more. Yeah. So when I started doing coaching for entrepreneurs. That's what this book was all about. I told you, right? Finish line thinking. So I started to work with a lot of entrepreneurs doing one-on-one coaching. show them how to think like an Olympic gold medalist, like a champion, and bring that into their business and kick some butt.
Yeah.
Had some great success with that. Then one of my last fitness clients said to me one day, I was talking to him and I said, "You're pretty smart. We should do a mastermind together." He says, "That's a great idea. Let's call it eCircle and let's charge for it." And I'm like, okay. So we started it and we had these round tables of business owners and we were really successful with that. But then we plateaued. And he said, "Look, I got a better idea. Let's bring in the whole concept of thought leadership." It's about men who've been hurt. A woman says no more. Good for you finishing. Yeah, thanks. So, what happened is that this program on thought leadership in Australia is called the Thought Leaders Business School. Incredible company. And they've put in 1,400 people through that program right now. Over half of them have gotten to making $500,000 to $2.5 million a year. That's insane.
Yeah.
And then of the remaining half, like over 60% are making $250,000 to $500,000. Ken, in North America, nobody who offers programs to help people make money has a success rate higher than 10%. Nobody, not one person. You name them, they could be the biggest names in the industry. They're lucky if they have 1 to 5%.
Yeah.
I'm being generous when I say 10%. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm being generous. Their programs are sizzle. They're lovely. I get a lot out of doing them, but they're sizzle. These guys give you steak, baby. Steak. And I'm like, okay, I want to know more. So we brought it here to North America. And I'll tell you what, we show people how to figure out what their expertise in life is, how to position themselves as the thought leaders, the go-to person with that expertise, and then take that expertise and thought leadership, turn it into a message that solves a particular problem for a particular group of people, and then go out there and pitch it. And the thought leadership, as Matt Church and Thought Leaders Business School created it, is you don't just stick with this one thing. You keep going, taking your various pieces of expertise and creating more of what he calls clusters, right?
Right.
So I'll show you what a cluster is, bro. This will blow your mind. This is some high-level stuff, man. Nobody's got this. None of this top guys you and I know, they don't have this. And it's because this is the best stuff in the world. That's a cluster. Okay? Cluster is a marriage of a message, a market, and a mode of delivery. And as a thought leader, over a 3-year period, you want to launch basically 12 clusters, 6 of which are successful, 3 of which are ultra successful, and that's $1 million a year business. That's as any thought leader. Like a guy like Ken Walls, as an example, who's already got some stuff figured out. If you go through this process, you probably get you to not just $1 million a year, but to 2.5, 3, 4, 5 million a year, and you probably will have maybe 3 mega clusters. And
what if I can't afford that kind of a pay cut?
Nice. Nice. But most folks,
awesome, dude.
Most folks, they do the same old crap everybody tells them to do. And okay, you need a personal brand. Okay, that's great. What the hell does that even mean? You need a message. Yeah, everybody needs a message. What does that mean? You can't just create that and pretend and then just start pitching it. There's no depth to it.
Right.
This thought leadership stuff, brother, there's a depth to this. You learn by doing, we teach some of this stuff ourselves as well, by creating intellectual property. This is some well thought out intellectual property. Wow. We have you create 52 of these per area of expertise. We have you dig up between 4 and 9 areas of expertise. Like you develop this, you're legit. You're not just some dude going, hey, no, look at me, I'm so great, I'll brand you, I'll do this, blah, blah. All that's BS. It's BS. And you know it in your heart. Even if you make a lot of money from it, you know you're not delivering the goods for the people. You know it. Yeah. And it's BS to pretend otherwise.
Yeah.
BS. Because it's about making somebody else rich, but it's not about making your clients win. And man, I like to get you paid. When you get paid, I'm already getting paid. I'm taken care of because, coming to my programs, I don't charge a ridiculously stupid small amount. I charge large.
Right.
But the return people get on it is insane.
That's awesome, man.
That's Ken. One of the reasons I'm excited to talk to Ken Walls is because you got people who are going to look at this and go, "Who is this dude? Who is this crazy guy from the Middle East?" And I want them to hear sizzle sellers versus steak sellers.
Yeah.
You know, I want them to hear, "Oh my God, there's a way to do this where the chances of success are 85%, not 1 to 5%."
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm also hopeful that Ken is going to go, "Oh my God, why don't I know about this?" You know, like,
Right.
you know, and then obviously all the other things. I mean, like you and I spoke last time, and you know, you've been very gracious to say, "I'm going to connect you with a few guys," and I'm saying I want to do the same and all that. But at the end of the day, everybody here was put on this earth by the Lord our God with a purpose, a mighty purpose, something deep laid in their heart, and they are not achieving it. They are like stuck. They are put down. This world we're living in is not allowing people to be their best. And my mission, man, is to show them what that greatness is that's inside of them, pull that sucker out. And once they pull that sucker out, to like actually be able to go out there and help other people and make a lot of money. Because you should help a lot of people and you should make a lot of money.
Amen. I agree. It's what I teach too. So what got you into this? What was it? What was the, you know, because this is about helping not just business owners, but people in general get unstuck in life. And I know, you know, I was talking to my buddy Glenn Morshower the other night. We were talking and on our show with Scott McCain and this thing where people settle in life for maybe 12 or 15 bucks an hour or 20 bucks an hour, and they feel like, you know, or whatever the number is, but they hit that unconscious ceiling and they stay there and they never expand, never. I don't know what it is. What do you think keeps people stuck there, that they don't spread their wings and really fly and experience the greatness that you're talking about, that I talk about?
Honestly, man, we are living in a time, where people are not being fed truth. Like, the messages from the culture and the society are all negative. The media is the worst. I mean, you want to be successful, you want a shot of ambition, go on a news diet, man.
Yeah.
Go on a freaking news diet. And if people spend 3-4 hours a day listening to people like you and I talk versus listening to the news media, man, like, that'll help them be more successful. That'll light the fire of ambition in them. But if they don't, they're done. Because the world is telling you, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane is a horrible message. Who the hell gets to tell you what your lane is?
Right.
You got to tell yourself what your lane is. You know what I mean? And that only comes from the journey of self-discovery and self-exploration.
Wow. And where do they start?
Well, you know, I think that everybody should read books and listen to podcasts. That's a great place to start.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my books, you know, you can go pick up Finish Line Thinking. And then on my website, my newest book, I'm offering it as a free download. If they go to eCircleacademy.com/TLJ for Thought Leaders Journey, that they can get this book for free and read it. That's a good start.
Say the website again. I'm going to put it up on screen.
eCircleacademy.com/TLJ.
Got it.
So they can do that. I've got this masterclass. It's an hour long. It's on the website. They can just go, you know, watch free webinar. I think it says there. Hello, Carly Lambro, and Carly Lembo. I'm sorry. Yeah. And they can take that and they can watch that, and it'll just give them a blueprint for how to create their business. And if they're in business already and they want some help and they're stuck a little bit, you can go on my website and just click on the button that says book a success call. And those are free. I offer them for nothing. Basically, you fill out an application form, and as long as you got a legitimate business and you do some stuff for people, I'll walk you through understanding what's not working, and I'll give you a bit of a blueprint on how you can go forward. And That call's free. There's no obligation. If you want more help and I feel it's a fit, might tell you about one of my programs, but it's a free call and you should take advantage of it. You should take advantage of these. And I got a podcast called The Thought Leader's Journey. I brought people like Mark Victor Hansen on. I brought people like Jack Canfield, Ken Blanchard, Marie Forleo, lots of great people. Listen, I mean, this show is a fantastic show. People ought to listen to it. That's what's going to give people the ability to go out there and win. You got to surround yourself with positivity. You got to fill your head with positivity. If you're filling your head with negativity, I've fallen into the trap of listening to the goddamn media way too much. Excuse my language. I apologize for that. But it's terrible. It's terrible. It destroys your thinking, man. And I'm doing my darndest to stay away from it. And the more I stay away from it, the better I feel. Honestly. Yeah.
I don't do it. I haven't watched a newscast for 12 years.
Good man.
And I won't. I hate it. I just look, I believe what Einstein said, that, everything is energy in motion, and we're energy. We're not this flesh. We're spiritual energy. And man, it's the whole GIGO principle, right?
Yeah. Garbage in, garbage out. Amen, man. Amen.
I can't handle that stuff. So I agree with you 1,000%. So with this coaching business, you have obviously done well. I mean, if you're connecting with people like Mark and Jack Canfield and Marie Foley, I mean, she's amazing. I watched her at oh my gosh, she was on stage at Grant Cardone's event. She was phenomenal. Absolutely incredible. So how did you make these contacts? How did you make these connections?
Honestly, man, I love people, and it's part of my superpower, is I love connecting with people and all that good stuff. So I just go talk to people. I introduce myself and meet them, like I knew Raymond Aaron. He was introduced to me by somebody. He ended up becoming a client. I was a client of his as well. Then he introduced me to Jack. He introduced me to Mark Victor Hansen. He introduced me because of him, I got to meet Joe Vitale and Robin Sharma. And like Raymond has been phenomenal for me. That's been one really, really great contact. But everybody, can meet someone. Look, I met you through Mark Victor Hansen. And, you said, hey, Nicky, I think I can connect you with Jeffrey Gitomer, have him come on your podcast for a new book. I'm like, in the book you're writing with him. I said, awesome, let's do it, man. I love Jeffrey Gitomer and his work. Guys, I promise you I won't insult him. I mean, it's just,
I know you won't.
But, that sort of thing. And I also believe you gotta ask, but you also gotta give, man. Like Ivan Meisner from BNI has this phrase he calls "givers gain," right?
Yeah.
I mean, when you and I are done this morning, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to say, look, Ken, what can I do for you? Who do you need to meet?
Yeah.
And if it's in my power to do it, I'll look through my phone. I'll make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And that's the way. Like the more you give, the more you're going to be given to. It's the law of the universe.
That is such an important principle. I would really love to hear you expand on that, because that's how I've built my network and is giving. And I think people need to understand that, because and here's the problem. And I know you've been here. We have bills to pay, and you may be short on funds, right? But the bills are still there, and people get to this place of, I have nothing to give, right? And I think that a lot of people get there where they feel like they don't really have anything to give, and it may not even need to be something financial that they're giving. Have you been there where you're like, I don't really have a lot of money right now, but I need to give?
Yeah, man, lots.
Yeah.
Look, listen, right now, man, our business is doing decently, but our business isn't where it was pre-pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And we had a great start to 2020. Like we roared out of the gate, and the pandemic just kind of like made us slow down. So for me, this isn't the greatest time in the history of my business. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest either. So right now I'm looking for opportunities to give. And when I have conversations with folks like yourself, the first thing that I say to them is, hey, how are you? Who are you? How can I help you? Who can I introduce you to? That's my standard line. Who can I introduce you to? It doesn't cost any money to do that. And Ken, if you look through your own soul and your own heart, and you go, okay, I really need to meet this kind of person today.
Yeah.
And as long as you give that to me sincerely, I'm sure I know someone like that, 100%.
Yeah.
And maybe you'll say to me, I've looked at your podcast list. I want to meet Joe Vitale as an example. I don't know. Okay, I'll send an email to Joe, and I'll say to Joe, I've got a really great guy with a really great podcast.
Yeah.
Would you like to meet him? He wants to meet you. He wants to bring you on his show. And that's what I'll do. It's like that simple, right? And whatever it takes, it's so simple to ask that question. It's so simple to give of yourself. Connecting two people together is a beautiful thing.
It is. It truly is. So what do you think the number one thing is that keeps people stuck from expanding in their life?
Just fear, man. Fear and not taking that first step.
What can they do to get past it?
Well, I think, all the things we've been talking about, right? Fill your head with positivity and get rid of the negativity. And like, I got some daily rituals I do. Like I had a strong workout this morning. I'm going to be journaling today as well.
Yeah.
It's important. Call people every day, ask them how you can be helpful to them. I think that's a good start.
Yeah.
How about having some virtual coffees until you can have real ones?
Amen. I agree with that too. What do you have what do you have to say to anyone watching right now that, I've told this story before, Nicky. One of the worst days of my life was I had an employee walk into my office and go, "Hey, boss, there's a guy looking in the windows of your SUV out in the parking lot." And I go, "Well, tell him to get the hell out of here." And he goes, "I would, but he's blocking it with his tow truck." And I'm like, "Oh no, this is not good." He was there to repo my car, and I couldn't convince him otherwise. And so, when you're looking around and it's like, it feels like your entire world is crumbling around you. Maybe somebody's electric's getting shut off tomorrow, or, and I've been there where you just feel like all hope is gone. How do you help somebody if they called you and said all that's happening right now? How do you help them get over that hump?
Well, the first thing I tell them is, hey man, it's tough and you got to deal with it. And, you got to deal with whatever that situation is. Carving, repo, and all that. You got to deal with it. There's no getting around it. Don't put your head in the sand.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I tell them is make sure you call somebody in your world and ask them how you can help them. Because that's what God says. That's what Jesus Christ says. If you put the attention on you and your problems, they're just going to get bigger. If you put your attention on serving somebody else, your problems are going to get smaller.
I love that, dude. I love that. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Nicky, I don't know. You're filled with a lot of wisdom, man. Where's the best place for everybody to follow you?
So there's a couple places. One is like the eCircleAcademy.com website, is a great place to go, and all the free resources that are there to, book the call and watch the program and download the book, and use that link as well for downloading the book. I think that's all great. But I've got this other website called a 360 site. It's NICKY360.com. And if people take advantage of that, they can go on there and find out about me and everything I do. So my podcast is there. How to get in touch with me is there. All that good stuff is there.
NICKY 360.
360.com. Nicky360.com.
That right there.
Yeah, that's it. That's the best way to get a hold of me. But honestly, I'll say this to you. If you're a business owner right now and you're stuck and you're a legitimate business owner, okay? Like, I mean, you got a business and you're stuck for whatever reason, I suggest you go to that eCircleAcademy.com website, go to that book a success call, click on it, book the call, fill out the form, and let's talk. And especially if you're like service-driven, you know, thought leader, entrepreneur, speaker, that kind of guy, Ken Walls type of person, you really need to do that and watch that free masterclass, because that's going to change your life. If you want to learn about how to be a thought leader and stop going to all these sizzle sellers and start coming to Nicky Billou and grab some stick. Let's eat some stick. That's what you should do.
Love it, man. I love it. Nicky, thank you for being on, man. I appreciate you. I know. I think your phone has rang a couple of times, hasn't it? Anyway, dude, I really appreciate you coming on. Everybody, make sure you go over to Nicky360.com and check him out. Is all your social media links, are they all on there too?
Yeah, they're all on there. They're all on there. Make sure you listen to the podcast. It'll be fun for you, and keep listening to the great Ken Walls and
dude,
Breaking Through Walls, man. What a great name, man. I love it. I love it.
I can't take credit, man. My wife, I told her I was going to start a show. She goes, "What? That's her right there, Jill." And I said, "I'm going to start a show," and she says, "Well, what are you going to call it?" And I said, "I don't know, Getting Unstuck." And she goes, "Why wouldn't you use your last name and call it Breakthrough Walls?"
That's so good. So good. Smart woman. Smart woman.
Very, very smart. So, Nicky, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Everybody, make sure you go over and follow Nicky. Check out Nicky360.com. Go to the eCircleAcademy.com/TLJ. He has free resources over there, free download of his book. Show him the book one more time.
The Thought Leader's Journey.
That's awesome. So you can download that for free over there. That is awesome. Nicky, hang with me for a second. I'm going to end the live stream. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everyone who shared this out as well. I appreciate that. You guys have an awesome day, and we will see you later.